Hi there, VC. It's Steve Whitty here again. Long time no see. Before anything else, wish you all a happy New Year. I hope that you all had a good Christmas and that you're all good enough that Santa brought you everything you wanted. Um, I have been quiet for the past month or so, and that's partly because my laptop gave up the ghost, and my laptop was what I used to record the videos on. Um, and I've sort of ummed and ahed about how I was going to do videos, so I take a break to sort it out. So this is the first video I'm recording on my iPad. I'm using iMovie on my iPad, whereas I used iMovie on my MacBook before. So here goes. This could be spectacular success or spectacular failure. If you've noticed I'm looking at things a bit funny, that's partly because the way I've got the lens set up, I'm seeing everything in reverse. I can turn it round when I actually edit the video. I've discovered that. So what's this video all about? It's primarily sort of a bit of catch up of what I've been listening to recently. Just what I've been buying or listening to. I'll do a couple, then I'll look at doing the final tag. Looks a bit more complex, the questions, than previous. Maybe it's a bit too complex. I don't know. Once I've seen a few videos, I suppose I'll get an idea. I'll get an idea what to do. So enough of me prattling on. Show the first record, and it's Edgar Broughton band, Sing Brothers Sing. One of my videos a couple of years ago, I had showed this on CD, and I commented at the time that it was going to cost me an arm and a leg to find any Edgar Broughton band albums on vinyl, an original. And lo and behold, this year I found three. And this is the first. I think this is the band's second album. It's come out in 1970. It's not in the greatest of nick. That's why I got it quite cheap. But I couldn't say no to that. So there you go, Edgar Broughton. In the shop, we were talking about status quo, and we're talking about really going on about that period, early status quo, where they changed from the psychedelic pop to what were their sort of rock leanings. And I picked up a copy of Mark Kelly's Greasy Spoon. This was the last album to feature Roy Lyons on keyboard. He left soon after. But you can tell the direction they were going in. Junior's Wailing is probably the best known track off here. And the image of sort of what was a greasy spoon calf in the 70s. Yeah. Sort of hygiene wasn't the best. Band I've picked up a couple of albums recently has been the Byrds. I've won this on eBay. This is Younger Than Yesterday. This, I think, is the first album after Gene Clark left the band. And on here, you've got So You Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star. Let's see what else is on here. My back pages. Sort of like follow on, sort of developing their sound. This would be the last album that had David Crosby on the cover. Because another album I picked, and I picked up a Spade to Toothers recently, and this is Sweetheart of the Rodeo and the Notorious Bird Brothers. God knows why they put the order, so Sweetheart of the Rodeo is first and then Notorious Bird Brothers afterwards. Notorious Bird Brothers was the album after that saw David Crosby get sacked. In fact, the image of the horse is supposed to replace David Crosby. And then by the time Graham Parsons came into the picture, and he helped put together, took the Byrds into a country direction. and Sweetheart the Radio is the result of that. He'd left the band by the time it'd come out. I think it was something to do with they played South Africa and he was dead against it. He was savvy enough to know what was going on there. This is a good twofer. I'm always on the lookout for twofers because they're actually worth excellent money, and it's probably something that some of the record companies that are talking about reissuing wouldn't go wrong in doing. This I couldn't say no to. The wonderful Half Man Half Biscuit Trumpet and Riots EP, 12-inch EP. Features Half Man Half Biscuit from Birkenhead on Merseyside. Just wonderful, just absolutely wonderful. Got on there Trumpet and Riots, then Architecture, Morality, Ted and Alice, B-side 1966 and all that, and the Albert Hammond bootleg, and then the track, the Imperious All I Want for Christmas is the Duke Lapaga Away kit, a sort of homage to Sabutio table football, which was a big part of my life as I was growing up. Another album, this is Grace Jones' Warm Leatherette. This is a reissue, different cover to the original. This originally came out in 1980. Big hit off this album in the UK was her cover of Pretender's Private Life, but it's also got Love Is a Drug, which became a later hit, as well as Warm Leatherette. Features Sly and Robbie on onto the rhythm section. This was produced by Chris Blackwell, and he obviously saw what the talent that was there for Grace Jones. Wonderful album. I don't just buy second hand. I will buy the odd reissue if it comes out, particularly if I can't afford the original. In this case, Gene Clark's No Other. It's been recently reissued on 4AD label in the UK. I just got the single album. There is a box set as well. You may know the story. There's Gene Clark in his glammed up days. When the Byrds got back together in '73 with the David Crosby produced album, it was out on Asylum. It was generally that Gene Clark had come out the better of it. He performed the better songs. He had the sort of performed best. So Geffen decided to give him a contract to make an album, and this was the album. The problem was it took about 10 months or something like that, and a lot of money was spent. And I think Geffen's reaction was, "You've only given me 8 songs," and he couldn't see a single or what, and he wouldn't promote it, and he pulled the budget from Clark to actually tour to promote it. So hence it sort of disappeared as soon as it came out. And over the years, it's certainly developed sort of a bit of one of those great lost albums, a bit like Dennis Wilson's album, Pacific Ocean Blue. It is a great album. Yeah, and I played it. I took this to an event and I played a track off it, the title track, and I think the people had never heard it thought, "Wow, this is good." Funny enough, you're thinking, well, the reason I brought this because there's no way I'll see an original. And then Pete in the local shop picked up an original. Mind you, he's selling it for about 45 quid. So pick up a copy of that if you haven't. It's a great album. An artist I found in the £2 binge, which you don't normally will see, Laura Nero, or whatever. I think it's Niro. New York Tenderberry. What a great voice. Apparently she got booed off at Monterey. But this is just an absolutely wonderful album. It makes me want to explore her more. I was aware of her. I was aware of the Gonna Take a Miracle album, which she recorded with LaBelle. Excuse me. Let's see. Another band I went to an event recently where they were celebrating Let It Bleed's 50th anniversary. And they were playing a lot of Stones, so it made me go out and buy some Stones. Goat's Head Soup. Wonderful. On there, it hasn't got all the gubbins. It hasn't got the post of the head the goat's head in the soup. But it's a great album. Angie's on there, and then it's only rock and roll, but I like it. It's the last album to feature Mick Taylor. Not as good. There's some good moments on there. Harking back to 60s. You've got Aftermath. Now this is an album I've been after for a long time. This is a reissue. I can't tell you when it was reissued. It's a stereo. But you've got Mother's Little Helper, Stupid Girl, Lady Jane, Under My Thumb, Don't You Bother Me, Going Home, which is this 11-minute sort of blues ramble. Side 2, you've got Flight 505, High and Dry, Out of Time, It's Not Easy, I Am Waiting, Take It or Leave It, Think What to Do. Again, in the cheap bins, I found a copy of this. Small Faces, The Autumn Stone. This was sort of released, I think it came out in 1969. Sort of like capitalised the end of the band. So you've got a mixture of live and greatest hits package. So you got stuff like Here Comes the Night, Lazy Sunday, Itchy Park, which were the singles. Then there were some live versions. Rolling Over Howard Carpenter, Every Little Bit Hurts. Yeah. And also it features Shallow Lee, and that was written by Kenny Lynch. And we've recently gone for a spate of people who've passed away. And Kenny Lynch, he was a bit more known as an entertainer, all-round entertainer, but he wrote and co-wrote Shallow Lee. And then finally, a couple of reissues I wanted to pick up on. This is just before Christmas, and they'd released the first three Thin Lizzy, the Decca albums with the Eric Bell on. So I've got Thin Lizzy, the self-titled debut album, which originally came out in 1971. And it is a totally different band. I have to, you can excuse the glare, I've still got the shrink on this. It's a totally different band, but it's a corking album on here. And you could see the romantic side of Phil Lynott in his lyrics then, and very much, grew up in Ireland, very Irish, the tales of Ireland. And then they followed it up with Shades of the Blue Orphanage, which this came out originally in 1972. On here, you've got one of the tracks on here. It's track 4 on side 1 is Sarah, and he was to go on, and this was written about his grandmother. For all that those that his mum had fell out of wedlock. He was born actually in West Bromwich, which is about 15 mile away from me. But they shipped the child back to Ireland. His mother stayed over in England, and he was brought up by his paternal grandparents, Sarah being his grandmother. So that song was a homage to her. And when he had his first child, he called her Sarah. And then on Black Rose, there's another different song called Sarah, about her, which was quite interesting. Again, it follows about. It puts more meat on the bone of Thin Lizzy, and then obviously you go to the Vagabonds of the Western World, and then Eric Bell leaves. But I was so pleased to be able to pick these up, and I think they're doing all the Thin Lizzy albums this year. But those were the ones I'd already got. Vagabonds of the Western World, so I wasn't too inclined to want to buy a new version of that. So there you go, VC. It's a quick video. I'm just reading it to see if this works. So enjoy yourselves today, relaxing. Take care of yourselves. Keep spinning. More importantly, keep smiling. Oh, if you've come across me before, I've never come across me before, and you think, who's this idiot with the two chins? And you like what you see, click on the subscribe button. Take care of yourselves, VC.